Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Fateful News. And the reason why you could be receiving some fateful news, not bad news, just fateful news that can represent a change in your life, is because yesterday we had a new moon at 7 degrees of Gemini, and Gemini rules news and all short forms of communication, such as buying and selling and advertising and promoting. And it rules journalism. It also rules short travels or short training courses or short forms of any kind of education. And it rules our pals and friends and people in our neighborhood and early childhood education. So it does rule simple things, and above all, it rules easy change or smooth transitions. The reason why you could be getting some fateful news is because not only were the sun and the moon in Gemini, but Mercury, the ruler of the sign, was there as well at the fateful 29th degree. And so it was exactly sextile in a very harmonious way Venus at the 29th degree of Aries, which rules new beginnings, and Uranus is in Aries as well. And so that simply means that the fateful news that you may be getting quite soon can be about a change or a new beginning that will soon get underway. So there's nothing wrong with it, but it simply means that there is some sort of fateful news coming. And I think what it could involve is some sort of change that allows you to make some sort of transition. Or it could be a move, or it could be getting some additional training, or you might be taking on a temporary project or some additional part-time work, because Gemini does rule 2 of everything. It's the sign of the twins, and it rules temporary or short-term things. So that could be something that's headed your way. There would be a lot of cooperation from partners to help you make some sort of change right now, because those 3 planets in Gemini were trining a 4th planet in an air sign, Mars, which is in Libra, and Mars is now direct. So it's very dynamic and swiftly moving forward. But because it's trining the 3 planets in Gemini, it simply means that partners could really help you out, or there may be discussion about a contract or some sort of legal settlement right now, and that would be very productive. The outcome would be that it would have a nice effect on your future, a positive effect on your future. Why is that? Because the 3 planets in Gemini and Mars in Libra all trine the sign of the future, Aquarius, very beneficially. So you can be looking forward to something new on your horizon, and even if you hadn't envisioned it at all, it could suddenly drop right in your lap, which would be great. And even if it sounded easy or something that was sort of mundane and casual, it could turn out to be something more permanent in the future. That's why you should sort of keep your eyes and ears open right now. And because Gemini does rule the news, it simply means that swift messages are really going to hit their mark right now. And that is why you don't have to belabor a point at all right now. You can just say something sort of short and sweet, and everyone will get the message. Another thing that Gemini rules is slang. And so this is a particular American trait where something very, very important can be said in a very easy and short way, but it can have a lot of deep meaning to it. And that could be involved in this fateful news that we hear about now as well. Not everyone is going to be in agreement, though, with any kind of fateful change that you make. And that is because there are still 5 planets in the cardinal signs all squaring and opposing each other. Aries is a cardinal sign, so is Cancer and Libra and Capricorn. So if you're one of these people that wants to sort of rigidly stick to your own point of view right now, the problem is that no one's listening, and that's because other people have equally rigid points of view. And so that means that people like that are going to be isolating themselves. Nobody's going to listen to them. You would perhaps not want to listen to anybody else. Well, no one would want to listen to you either. And for that reason, you could be isolated. That's not really a very productive way to get ahead right right now, and so that could stop you instead. So you need to be aware of that, and don't be too rigid in your viewpoints. There's also a grand trine in water signs right now, and that simply means there can be a lot of sympathetic support around, particularly among people who are very stable and who are good survivors, and they have a lot of experience. They can almost be like angels right now, quite willing to help others out if they think they deserve it. So you have that to look forward to. So what kind of fateful change could it be headed your way? And believe me, this could happen on the world stage, it could happen in your neighborhood, it could happen in your workplace. It could be a change that is sort of ingenious. In other words, it could be the kind of change that could be so simple and so ingenious that people can be saying, oh, why didn't we do this sooner? Or why didn't we think of this sooner? So it could be something that is just very obvious to everybody, but it takes somebody rather special to convey that and identify it. The change, since Gemini rules 2 of everything, the ingenious change or plan could also involve a departure. And so it could be something's coming, but something's also going. And so if the departure is yours, you could be headed into a new beginning that could be just right for you. Or if the departure is someone else's, that could create an opening for you instead. So that can be all to the good. So this is simply a time now when some sort of fateful news is going to allow you to turn a corner and clearly see the path ahead of you. And when you see that path heading toward your future, don't look back and be sure and take it. It could lead to something wonderful, even if it starts small and is sort of like just an easy or temporary thing. It really has a lot of potential to be quite successful. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that since Venus is at the 29th degree, exactly sextile Mercury in Gemini and the Sun and New Moon, and Uranus in your sign is doing that as well, I think that you can certainly make some sort of new beginning, and it could involve some sort of fateful change, but it would also be easy for you, Aries, and that could be something where you just simply, perhaps in your workplace, move to a different department. Or it can simply be that you take on some temporary or additional responsibility, but it does involve a new start, and it could be it could broaden into something much, much bigger that you would probably like because you might be in charge of it yourself. And remember, yours is the sign of the pioneer. So you have that to look forward to. If instead, since yours is a cardinal sign, you decide to stick rigidly to your own viewpoint, even with Venus and Uranus both in your sun sign, no one's going to listen to you, Aries. So I think as long as you've got the advantage of this new moon being sextile your sun, I hope that you are open to fateful news. And even if it involves an ingenious plan that's not yours, maybe it would be someone else's, and it also would involve a departure, I hope that you are supportive of that because there could be something good in it for you too. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, I think that since that new moon yesterday was right ahead of your sun sign, that you are contemplating some sort of change, and it can be involving fateful news. In other words, it can be that you get some sort of news that you have to react to. It could involve buying or selling or promoting or advertising, because that's what Gemini rules. And at the very least, it could involve a short trip that you would thoroughly enjoy. However, since there are not very many planets in the earth signs right now, in fact, there's only one, and that's Pluto in Capricorn that is trining your sun, I would say that you have to be wary of making too many sudden changes right now if you have to pay for them. And that is because there still can be pending bills or even higher taxes or hidden costs that can be plaguing you. There could even be some back taxes that you have to pay off, and that is because Saturn in Scorpio is opposing your sun sign. But the good news is, Taurus, that because Venus is at 29 degrees of Aries, it is immediately going to come into your sun sign, and it is your ruler. So you certainly could be walking into something pretty nice, and maybe you do have the money to pay for it, Taurus. It would just involve buying and selling in one way, but I think you can look forward to some sort of fateful news that may get you exactly what you want. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, it's wonderful for you, and that is because yesterday's new moon had the sun, the moon, and your ruler, Mercury, at the 29th degree, and because Mercury is the most powerful of those three planets, the ruler at home in its own sign is extremely powerful. It simply means that you can get help with some sort of fateful news that could involve an ingenious plan or a change and a departure. Whether it's your departure or somebody else's, it can simply boil down to a change. It could be a change that is certainly going to help you in your future, Gemini, and that is because Mars in Libra is trining your sun, and that means you'd get help from very energetic partners that want to push ahead right now. So you could be a little bit busier in the next week or in the next month or so. And those four planets, the three in your sign and Mars, are trining the sign of Aquarius, which means that any kind of change that you make could have a very favorable effect on your future, Gemini. So I hope you're turning a corner and looking clearly at the path ahead and taking it, because I think your future can get better if you go ahead and make a change right now. Even if it involves a departure, it would turn out to be something quite beneficial, because it would also represent a new start, and probably one that you'd love. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when you can choose how you want to react to something, and that is because the grand trine in water signs means that Jupiter in your sign is being trined by Saturn in Scorpio and also by Neptune in Pisces. So you could be the angel that helps someone else make a dream come true, or there is the possibility that someone with a lot of experience can help you make a dream come true as well. And that may involve a family matter or a move or something that is uplifting and inspirational to others and sort of involves healing in one way or another, or helping people. So that is all to the good. But yours is also a cardinal sign. So if you decide to cling rigidly to your own point of view, you could isolate yourself and alienate others. And that means you wouldn't get ahead, Cancer. Well, you don't want to do that, do you? So I hope you take the sympathetic approach to fateful news that can be headed your way, because it can eventually lead to an open door for you, or a new path, or a better future. You just have to be sort of optimistic right now, Cancer. And Jupiter is in your sun sign. It's only in a sun sign once every 12 years. So I hope you're leaving yourself open to new possibilities, Cancer, because the sky's the limit, particularly if it involves some sort of helping hand, either yours being extended to someone else or you letting somebody help you. That would work out really well too. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you do benefit from change around you and from fateful news. And that is because whether the news happens to you or somebody else, that new moon in Gemini, along with the sun and Mercury at the 29th degree, were sextiling your sun, and Venus and Uranus in Aries they're both trining your sun. So there is something new headed your way, Leo. And whether it's something new happening in your neighborhood or to your friends and your pals, or whether it is just some easy change or smooth transition that is occurring for you, and even if it involves travel, it would all go rather nicely. And so I think that you have a lot to look forward to right now. You don't have a lot of money to look forward to, but you do have a tremendous amount of opportunity that can be coming your way due to some sort of fateful news that helps you make some sort of change. And even if it involves something temporary, it could work out to something permanent if you stick with it, Leo. So I hope that you are open to possibilities right now, because it looks to me like they could be coming, even two of them, from different directions, both of which would do you a lot of good. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, This is simply a time when I think you're going to have to stand by, but not for a long time, in fact, a very short time. But you will have to sort of stand by right now, because news is one thing and facts are another. Anybody can broadcast news, you just don't know if it's true or not, or you don't know if it is something that can be funded or that is very practical or profitable. And those are questions that you would ask, Virgo, because your sign rules accounting and banking. And so I think you're going to have to stand by right now, and that is because the Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Gemini are squaring your Sun, and Neptune in Pisces is opposing your Sun. So I don't think you're going to be getting the full story on everything. In other words, even if there is fateful news, there could be another story behind that story, and that is why you need to sort of stand by and see what shakes out, or see what the facts or the bottom line really is. And that is something you could learn rather quickly, not right now, but very soon, in a week or two. And that is because Venus is coming into Taurus. It'll be there tomorrow, and it is going to be trining your Sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is already trining your Sun. So you are going to be the beneficiary of some pretty good financial news or a promotion. If you're buying and selling instead, I think you might get your price. You might even get more than you're expecting, Virgo. But for right now, I don't think that you're quite able to separate fact from fiction, and that's why I think you should hold off on something, or at least play for a little bit more time until you can learn some more facts. They will be headed your way, and they should be good. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra, this is simply a time when you can be super energized, and that is because I think you've had it with something. You're all done with trying to be everyone else's peacemaker, and I think instead you want to go for something that represents even a short change or a temporary project, but at least to get you with people that think the way you do, or that can communicate in a short and sweet way and very clearly. And that is because Mars is now direct in your sign, propelling you forward. And since it is being beautifully trined by the Sun, Moon, and Mercury in Gemini, and those planets are trining the sign of Aquarius, which rules the future, I think that even if something very small is starting right now, at least people will be able to understand the concept. And after they get the idea, then you can be helpful in setting legal steps up that really make something possible right now. So a lot of people are going to come up or be interested in an ingenious plan, which could also represent some sort of departure. You might be involved in that, Libra, but it would certainly be to your benefit. And that's why I hope you do think about making a change. Even if the news is somewhat fateful, it's going to open up other possibilities for you, and it's going to get you people around you that can communicate very well right now. And that is why I think you need to get out and socialize or talk to more people. And if you've got a great idea or an ingenious plan, this is when you should advertise it and promote it. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, the new moon in Gemini was 150 degrees away from your sun sign, and that is an aspect we call inconjunct. So there is the possibility that some fateful news isn't really headed your way, but it's still, you could be responsive to news that is coming toward other people, or you can be very well aware of somebody who needs a helping hand right now. Or if there is money that has been promised to you or delayed for a long time, that could be headed your way, which is good because there is a grand trine in water signs. But I think that some fateful news will not have a direct impact on you. There can still be an ingenious plan and a departure involved with it, though, and you could probably be the beneficiary of that in one way or another. In other words, you could go along with the change. That would be all right with you, particularly if there was proper funding for it. And that is what it's all going to boil down to. Where's the money? Or will there be enough money? That isn't quite what people are thinking about right now under the new moon in Gemini. They're only talking about proposing an idea or responding to fateful news that can represent a new beginning. So that much is going to be clear to all of us in the next week. But who is going to be paying for it? That is probably something that you will have to investigate, Scorpio. And since your sign does rule intelligence gathering, you're probably the person that could put all the figures together, so I hope you work on that a little bit. It could be greatly to your advantage. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, that new moon in Gemini, along with the Sun and Mercury, were all opposing your Sun sign. And that simply means, along with Neptune in Pisces, which is squaring it, that 4 planets in mutable signs can be quite challenging to you right now. So there can be some fateful news that you know about, Sagittarius, and it could affect someone else. It could bring about a beneficial change in their lives. It could represent a new beginning that they are now able to make. It might be someone else who is making a departure, not you. And so what does that leave you with? Well, it could leave you with a hole somewhere in your life, Sagittarius, where someone is going off and doing something, and so they're not around anymore. And it could be a pal or a buddy or a coworker or a neighbor who just isn't there anymore, because they can respond quickly to swift messages that really hit their mark and represent a new start. So that simply means there might be a little more work for you to have to do, or maybe you're going to have to shoulder some extra burdens right now, Sagittarius. But on the other hand, you too can be certainly in a right position for some sort of new start, because both Uranus and Venus Aries are trining your Sun, and Venus is at the 29th degree. And so that means that if there's going to be a new start in your life, Sagittarius, it looks like it could be headed your way real quickly. In fact, right now. But that new start might be the result of fateful news that affects someone else a little bit more than it affects you. It doesn't mean that there wouldn't be a residual effect on you, though. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when I think you need to bide your time. And the reason why is that there's only one planet in an Earth sign, and it's Pluto in your sign. But it isn't being fortified by anything. And in fact, it's under attack. And that is because you could be facing many challenges right now. And that is because Jupiter, or Mars in Libra, which is quite dynamic and is being trined beautifully by the new moon, and Sun and Mercury in Gemini, is actually squaring your Sun sign right now. So there can be somebody else that sort of wants to hog the whole show, or wants to do things their way, or maybe even wants to break up and go ahead and try something new without you, Capricorn. So this is a time when matters can be pending, because Venus and Uranus and Aries are also squaring your Sun, and new starts are very well aspected. But once again, that could mean that somebody else sort of wants to get ahead of you and be very competitive right now. And that isn't the way you work. Also, Jupiter in Cancer is opposing Pluto in your Sun sign, and it is being well fortified from a grand trine in water signs. And that is why I think you need to bide your time, Capricorn. You may not get what you want right now, but rather than rigidly clinging to your own viewpoint and trying to force that upon other people, that will only isolate you right now. And so it's much better just to be very, very quiet, because you won't have to do that for long, Capricorn. So you may not be getting your way, but I wouldn't press any points right now either, because I don't think it's going to get you anywhere except stonewalled, and you really don't want that. You don't want to be isolated and shut out. And so you won't have to wait too much longer until you do get something you want, and that's because Venus is moving from Aries into Taurus tomorrow, and it will be trining your Sun. And then somebody could be changing their mind and deciding that, oh yeah, now they better listen to you, or they may want to invest in a new idea of yours. It's just that it could be a pricey idea, and that's what they, maybe nobody wanted to listen before, but they'll change their minds, and that's why I think things can get better, but not right now. So try to play it real quiet, Capricorn, and let other people do what they want right now. Your turn is coming. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a wonderful new moon for you because all 4 planets are trining your sun. The sun, moon, and Mercury in Gemini are trining your sun, and that dynamic Mars, which is now direct in Libra, is also trining your sun. The future is calling you, Aquarius, and that's good because there can be someone with an ingenious idea that is so simple, everyone's going to wonder why they didn't think of it. But it can involve some sort of departure at the same time, but it would only be a departure connected to a new start, which could be great. It would happen very fast or very suddenly when that does happen, but it could benefit you quite nicely, Aquarius. And also you could attract energetic partners to you right now that really want to resolve something. So if there has been some pending legal issue that's been hanging over your head, I think it's going to get resolved very, very quickly. And that will free you up to move in a new direction yourself, Aquarius. So you have a lot to look forward to. As some sort of fateful news allows you to go forward, turn a corner, and see your path very clearly. And I think it's a path that you ought to take. And that's why I hope you concentrate on moving forward right now while the stars are with you. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you too should be a little bit cautious because the Sun, Moon, and Mercury were all squaring your sun sign where you have Neptune. So either you're not hearing somebody clearly, or maybe they are not really listening to you either right now. And so this idea of fateful news, it may not land on your doorstep, or else you could, there is a aspect that indicates you could be confused or you could misinterpret something right now. So I would look before I leap, Pisces, unless you're trying to help somebody else out. Remember, you too could be an angel right now. It's just that something could be a little confusing, and that's why I think you better wait until the news shakes out and you find out what the real facts are. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see our show on our website and subscribe to it there so that you can get it sent to you and you could watch it anytime you want, day or night. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next week. Bye.